Welcome back to the Charismatic Voice. We've been receiving a ton of requests for more Evanescence, so that's what we're going to do. Thank you so much for your requests, by the way. We do track them, so thank you, thank you, thank you. We're going to be looking at My Immortal, and specifically looking at a performance where Amy Lee is both singing live and playing the piano. Now, I'm pretty sure that I heard this song in high school, but I haven't listened to it in a very long time, and I've never done a deep dive on the vocals. So, without further ado, let's get to it. I love how many people know this song and that the audience was excited about it from the very first note. I also really, really love that she's playing the piano with herself while she's singing. There's something really wonderful about the kind of support you can draw from a piano while singing into it. The strings of a piano essentially will vibrate with sympathetic pitches, and that helps really lock in the keys sometimes, and just also it helps engender a really nice tone quality out of a lot of singers. Not that Amy needs the help. I really enjoy just the natural tone quality that she gives. She doesn't feel like she's adding any sort of layers or she's manipulating anything in a funny way. It just feels really honest to me. And even her breath technique feels very honest. She isn't preparing for like really long, crazy phrases right now. She's taking shorter breaths and using them. I understand that this song is about grief, and I did look at the lyrics right before doing this again. It's definitely about losing someone you love, and essentially about that spirit sticking around and haunting you. And I think a lot of us can relate to that. So I think it's wonderful to hear the emotion in here and hear the way she's using the breath at the beginning. When you're in grief, a lot of times you can't take really deep breaths. It hurts too much to breathe really deeply, and you end up having short breaths come all the time. And I hear definitely more of that short breath approach right now. We'll see where it goes. Ooh, nice slide off there. She's doing a thing where she slides off of notes a lot. And I think it's really nice because it tells you the pain that's going into the note, and then you hear this release essentially off of it. But she also is bringing a lot of breathiness into the lower part of her voice rather than necessarily condensing and focusing it, which makes it feel warm. It makes it feel vulnerable. It makes it feel like it's not necessarily strong. And then when she goes up with that more condensed sound, that's when she does more of the slides off of the notes. And that feels like it's struggling to be strong. But then with the slides off, you get this sense in the styling that it just might be too much on the person to feel strong. So I imagine that she does a lot of that instinctually. But I think that it is, if we were to just sit down and analyze it, we would be able to give 10 billion reasons why her instincts are so good. I'll go back just a little bit so you hear that little slide off in a few different areas. That was a great example of a slide off at the end. And the phrases are definitely becoming longer and longer. So it seems like she, or the person that she's being, which I think she's probably just being herself here. I think I remember her talking about loss of a family member or friend. So it seems like the person is gaining more strength in being able to express these feelings with the longer phrases. What a fantastic build-up. I love having this solo piano with her voice so it's stripped down a little bit more. You can really pay attention to the nuances she's got going on, especially the nuances in how she's very lightly sliding off of the notes in places and the way she's playing with different tone qualities there to express more vulnerability or strength or almost wavering strength at times. But this build into the band is fantastic. Now it feels like we can just have a moment of big release with them all. Really, really love how this was constructed. Let's go back. What a good color for a belt. You can absolutely hear it that her throat is just totally open. There's no obstruction here. It feels like the breath is almost just singing all on its own. It's beautiful, just smooth, easy breath. And I loved hearing also that the tone when she does have a belted moment where it's stronger, her tone quality feels like it still stays warm, despite having like a little bit more focus on it that's driving it and is more powerful. She's still able to keep a nice, almost like round space back behind it. And I really like having those extra layers in her belt. Let's go back a little bit. I loved the way that she pulled it back here at this end moment. So nice. I'm going to pause because we're going to come back to this one more time. Her facial emotions in this are really fantastic. When a person makes facial expressions, a lot of times those expressions come out in their vocal timbre. And that's partly because whatever we feel in our brains, it tends to have a direct line to our vocal folds due to the vagus nerve going between our emotional processing center and your voice, essentially. So you can really hear at the end, it's almost like it's almost a mixture of longing and grief, but also it sounds like there's a little bit of happiness of having the memory of that person around. There's so many different levels of emotion, though, that you can hear in her voice and in her facial expressions. So I want to go back and look at this one more time. Do you hear that smile and release? Beautiful. All right, I rewound it just a little bit because there's one more thing I wanted to talk about in this before wrapping, and that is her posture while she's at the piano. She tends to have really good posture, so her midsection is still pretty straight, and that makes it easier for her rib cage to expand, essentially. So she's not hunching over and crowding any of that available breath expansion. Also, the mic placement above the piano is really important. And a lot of people will end up putting a mic much too low or much too high. But when you're playing the piano and singing at the same time, you tend to lean into the piano just a little bit to get more body behind it. And her mic placement makes it so it's really easy just to sing into it without putting the chin down and depressing the larynx or putting it up and causing a kink to happen in the trachea. So mic placement and piano posture here are excellent. You guys, I love this version. This was really, really wonderful to get to see and hear. I'm so glad that many of you recommended this version specifically to listen to. So thank you for that recommendation. The build was fantastic, but really getting to hear all of her nuances was the thing that got me the most. And then seeing that she's also an accomplished pianist who knows how to maintain good piano position for singing. So very excited to see all of that. And I definitely have more appreciation for Amy Lee getting to do a deep dive into her vocals and piano playing now. Once again, I love your recommendations. Please keep those coming down below. We look through the comments of YouTube specifically for those recommendations, so write them down there. And also come and say hello to us sometime during premieres on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays at 8 a.m. Arizona time. And then beyond that, you can find us on Patreon and also at thecharismaticvoice.com. We'll see you somewhere else soon.